we've got a lot of late breaking stories for the Great Northern Sexcast. Colleen, I don't want you to forget anything that you've recently drudged up, so let's jump into it with what you have.
Well, two things popped up this week. One was a story about an ornately carved ivory dildo. Supposedly several hundred years old, brought back from a captain of a trading ship several hundred years ago to their wife in Ireland. It went on the market. It went all around. It's been around the world, but there's a store, and I don't have the exact name of it, but we've posted the story on the Fantasy Gifts page, if not the Great Northern Sexcast Facebook page. And there was a store like this, and they did like a GoFundMe when it went back on the market. And they were successful. And now the ivory dildo, is back in Ireland where it belongs. It's a beautiful...
Erin Go Bra.
Yeah, it is a beautiful carved ivory piece, probably about 9 inches long. It looks like it might be like hollow or have a cat, maybe you store, I don't know, maybe you store a little note inside of it or something. But the article is just adorable. The piece looks gorgeous. And what I really liked about it is that, people have been making fake phalluses for centuries upon centuries upon centuries. You can find hundreds and thousands of year old references. Monks put dirty pictures in the sides of Bibles they're doing.
Monks?
For everything, in the year 2019, the fact that people still have such outdated concepts about sexual pleasure just fascinates me. So when I see just a cute story that shows that for hundreds and hundreds of years, people have been trying to find the best way to make their partners happy, and if it happens to be a beautifully carved, ornate ivory dildo, then so be it.
That was quite a gift.
It was just lovely. And they were so giddy to get it back.
How much did it go for? Do you remember?
It was only like 650, 750. Was it euros or pounds? I'm not sure.
So that's probably about $1,500.
Yeah, and it's not that much. So I'm just glad that people banded together and they could bring the dildo home to Ireland.
Well, yes, it should be back in its native land.
And so I just thought it was just sort of fun and sweet because there's a lot of just sort of crap stuff out there. People always like to sensationalize anything that has to do anything with nudity or sexuality when it's remotely awful, which, whatever. But this is a fun dildo story.
Well, there you go. I love that. Okay, before we forget to, because I in my other life that I live, I was trying to cover a story about, because this is a big deal. 21 states now allow medical marijuana legally, and 11 states have legalized it for recreational use.
Correct.
Okay, so this presents a problem. I mean, this is a burgeoning industry, okay?
It is.
But here's the thing. If you work in it, you may not be able to get a mortgage loan. Because
the banking rules,
banking rules, they are tied, to federal entities, government-sponsored entities that, which at the federal level, that's an illegal activity. So if you work in that industry and you're doing great or whatever, you're going to have trouble. So I'm very curious to see, how this is going to work its way out, because I don't think this genie's going back in the bottle.
No, it's not. It's going to have to be changed at the federal level. I mean, we really are at that tipping point.
Yeah.
I think once we get a change in the White House, once we get a change in the Senate, they'll deal with some. This will be part of the part where they're dealing with a whole bunch of. A lot of the pot rules are racist, and they'll be working on justice and judicial reform. And I think getting rid of these, really, there's story after story about how Nixon just demonized pot so he could demonize black folks and anti-war stuff. It's all in the 60s. None of this, nobody really cared up until that point. So and with the 21 and the 11 states, and I wonder if that includes Illinois, because I know that's coming up soon.
Yeah.
And that may even be the ones that have done it. It just hasn't gone into it isn't legal yet, even though it's been passed to do it or something like that. It's even more and more. And so it'd be nice to do that. I mean, right now, I was at Lunds and Barley's. I'm in the checkout line. And you know how sometimes there's magazines that are just like one item? There's a whole magazine right in there right now called Women and Weed with nice pink letters on it. And the whole thing about women and pot. business, using all this. But what they don't cover is, I flip through it, nothing about sexual health in it.
Okay, well,
so
you
then
did
I find this article.
Yeah.
Then I find this article. Okay, this doesn't happen to every woman, but if you have smoked pot, and you get a dry mouth, then you're someone who's the chemicals in marijuana, THC, or whatever they could, are sort of work like Benadryl or anything. When you take antihistamines and you dry up.
Yep.
If that happens to you when you smoke pot, well, linings is linings. You could be drying up your vaginal lubrication also. So if you notice that, for a lot of folks, people might smoke a little and then get a little horny. But you're a little bit drier. This could be one of the reasons, and you want to think about maybe adding lube.
Okay.
But in this article, and Megan is going to post it, all that information was spectacular. But then they went into using coconut oil as a lubricant, and the more and more and more that I look into this, and we've had a few people ask if we have coconut oil-based lubes and all that, I just don't think it's something I'm going to carry at Fantasy Gifts. It can there's just something about the coconut oil in my reading, and that actually is more irritating and can create more problems than could, even though it's natural. Lots of things are natural, but they're still not good for you.
Well, garlic.
Yeah, garlic.
I mean, remember we've talked about that. Don't put garlic in the hoo-ha. Okay.
Yeah. I would, so they talked about, so the first part of this article about how just sort of pay attention to your body, see what's going on. If you are noticing more dryness and you are someone who uses marijuana, this could be a reason. And to think about extra lube. But I would not, as they suggest in the article, use coconut oil.
Okay.
It just more negatives than positives on that thing. I'm not saying, that it's, as awful as putting garlic in your hoo-ha or other things that people do or any of that sort of stuff. Yep. But I still would err on just going for a good water-based, lube.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, but it was just fascinating because, every time we turn around, I think I may have mentioned this before, that I drove part of Route 66 earlier this spring from Chicago all the way to Santa Fe. And honestly, it's tacos, Dollar General stores or Dollar Tree, and either CBD or pot dispensaries. This is what's going on from here all the way to Santa Fe. And obviously, anyway, from Santa Fe, when I continue at one of these, years, getting through Nevada and into California, it's going through there. So really, just sort of listen to your body. But I just thought, it makes sense because, linings is linings.
Yeah.
I had a nurse tell me that when I couldn't figure out, I was like everything dries up when I take all of, because I take a lot of antihistamines.
Okay.
And stuff like that. And sinuses. If you're taking something that's drying up a lining, you ingest anything that's drying up a lining, nasal, vaginal, mouth, all dry. They're very similar tissues.
It actually makes perfect. Yeah.
So that was honest. So dildos, pot, lube. So I think, just the sort of the stuff that I want to get out there for folks. You can Google it, of course, yourself. You'll find the articles. You can, but of course, Fantasy Gifts and the Great Northern Sex Cast page has these stories too.
And once again, I just want to circle back to something you said about the coconut oil. What you said, just in case it went by too fast for some people, you do not recommend using regular old coconut oil there, but if you were to ever find something that was somehow produced and marketed as lube, would you still be leery of it?
Yeah.
You would?
I would, yeah.
Okay.
There's actually 2 brands out there, and we just decided not to carry them at Fantasy Gifts.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't clear.
There are some CBD and some hemp oil items that we carry, and I'm comfortable, with those, but not the coconut oil.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. That's what I want to clear. Yeah. Okay. Well, on another humorous drug-related note, this just made me, you can't make this up, so I just brought it in. So, marijuana is becoming more and more recreationally legal in the United States. Meth, however, is going to have a much harder time. But this guy, this happened actually in Australia, it falls in the file where you had one job to do. And this is the guy that had an unobtrusive van, and he was driving like 60 pounds of meth worth street value of $140 million US. Okay. This is one, and all he had to do was take it from point A to point B. What does he do on the way? He nicks and crashes into parked police cars in front of the police station. They spotted the van on their, surveillance cameras that are generally in front of the police station. And they got him. And he's in really, really, really big trouble because, generally the charging and the sentencing has to do with,
how much. Plus the fact that, he was doing a job for somebody else and they're not going to be too happy. They lost that much. It is frustrating. That is never in a million years. I mean, do I think that drug use should be criminalized? No, because I think there's several countries, Switzerland, a couple countries that have completely decriminalized drugs. Someone has a problem, they are sent for help. Therefore, and their crime rates have gone like nothing because no one's profiting off of this stuff. As per se. That is a nasty thing. There's nothing good about that. I know friends that have serious issues with it, and they're working really hard, to get out of it. And it's a definite scourge, and along with the OxyContin and all that, problem in a lot of places in this country. But treating the people that are using it like criminals, is not going to. Is not going to help anyone.
Yeah,
it's not going to help them, or if you want to just look at it from a personal standpoint, our pocketbooks and taxes. Yeah.
Incarceration is expensive.
No. Yes.
That's for sure. Yeah. Okay. This is funny. And it's, this is a hilarious story in my opinion. So a mom, she lives this is a Maryland couple. They've got a little daughter. And she got called into work early, and her daughter's like, 2. And dad had to step in and get her dressed and drop her off at daycare. And actually, he told her, he goes, go pick out a pair of shorts. And she did. And he put them on her and sent her to school. And then the mom gets a call from the school saying, hey, your daughter is not wearing pants. She just has on her underwear. And they're training diaper pants that probably have, like a design on them and a T-shirt. Yeah. He didn't realize the difference because he's a guy, and just kind of sent the kid. And he's like, well, at least she had something on, which, that's kind of a, a solid point. And everybody ended up getting a great big laugh out of it. But, he really didn't realize that these weren't actual pants. And mom's like, oh, God,
What I find, frustrating about that is it goes right into stereotypes that dads don't have a clue.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And it's going through there. And I'm like, but then it also goes to the fact that it says how nice they're making diapers nowadays.
There's that.
Think about it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
I've had, diapers for my kid. It's been a zillion years now. I mean, hell, she's off to college, so you're not doing diapers. But, to me, they always look a lot like they were very diapery.
Yeah, and no, the ones now they're kind of fashionable and and stuff. Hell, underwear for incontinence is even better looking these days.
Yeah, I always wonder. So I mean, I know that folks get paid well when you're in a national campaign, whether it's TV or even magazines or print or stuff like that. And you can actually do. I mean, like the Progressive Lady or whatever it is. All those folks, they make a lot of money on those commercials.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But I'm just, what I'm like. But if you're the model for the Depends underwear, I really hope that is a lucrative contract.
Well, there is one lady who does, she's an African-American lady. She's pretty cute. And she doesn't look like she would have incontinence. But anyway, and I mean, she's in an underwear shot and, she's cute and and I'm like, okay, well, she doesn't have anything to be ashamed of right there. No. She looks awesome, but yeah.
I love it because there's just so many, I managed to cough everything, up and sometimes have a problem with that. And I've had to talk to my doctors and dealt with it. And I'll talk about it because so many people just you don't have to be wearing these things. There are things you can do.
Yeah, true.
And I will never be ashamed of that. But that's me. I'm a sharer. It's going through there.
Yeah.
But I just look at those and I said, I am not at, hopefully I will never get to the full underwear thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Little leakage. Yeah, fine. they got pads, little tiny ones for that. No big deal.
But on the note about pants, I really need to circle back. No.
I'm a rambler.
Because
I am on a crap ton of coffee and prednisone for my and a crap ton of steroids for my stuff. So even though I'm a little mellow right now, my brain is like Tigger. So I have caffeine and prednisone probably induced ADD right now.
Okay.
So just circle it, reel it in, circle it around, go for it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm laughing because this story that we were talking about, sending the toddler to school in her cute little, training pants instead of actual, shorts, clothing. I have an addiction in my own life, and it is to eyelash extensions, and I get them done about every 2.5 weeks. And my gal now works; she has her studio in her house, and she's got these two beautiful little girls. They're 3 and 2. Okay, and they're just darling, but neither one of them likes to wear clothes, and they're in that phase where they dress them.
I don't like to wear clothes.
Yeah, well, I don't think I've ever seen either one of them dressed, right? And it just cracks me up. And it's like, do they grow out of that? Because I've never raised any kids myself, but it's fine. But
yeah, at one point, they pick up stuff going around there, and it goes, and honestly, clothes aren't comfortable.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of kids have problems. They're making a lot of. One of the things that I thought was spectacular is I sort of noticed it, when my kid was younger, was the fact that they were just sort of stamping tags inside of clothes now instead of having a tag. Mm-hmm. So that's nice because, that doesn't bother folks and things are going through there. And some kids don't like waistbands. There's a lot of, and especially if for folks that are kids that have any sort of
skin
Asperger's or anything on the why am I
OCD?
Why am I blanking?
Autism.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. A lot of folks have a lot of touch issues when they're in stuff like that. And so not having tags and all that or not wanting to wear clothes is not all that uncommon.
Yeah. Well,
but they figure it, especially at that age, because you also learn, that's about when you can figure out how to take it off. So it's a exploring and learning thing.
Yeah. Oh God, they are the cutest little girls. But they've, here in Minnesota we have storm doors, and theirs is just like glass. Well, I walked up one day and there was the older one just plastered right up with her, little crotch shot, and I'm like, well, okie doke. Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's really hard because at one point they're girls, and someone's going to say like a 5-year-old should have like a bikini top on. For what?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I managed when I was very little. There's a picture of me in a little pink kitty cat rug, and I'm all naked with my little butt showing. I'm on my stomach, and then I managed just out of just dumb luck take a picture of my kid on like a little rug, and I realized the two pictures sort of look the same. So I had the one redone and blown up, and I gave it to my mom of me and my daughter, both about the same age, with little baby bums.
Cute.
Oh my God, baby bums are adorable.
They are. Well, I like the toes.
The little feet. Little feet. And then they go up to the little knees.
Well, yeah, but if you I love how if you go and you touch a baby's foot, they'll clamp your finger with their toes. Makes me laugh. And they're so pink. No, usually.
Yeah, before they turn into like gnarly teenage.
Before they get calluses and stuff. Yeah.
They're adorable little toesies.
Baby feet. Okay. This is cute, but there's a little weirdness to it.
It's a Friday when we're doing this. I could use a little weird after 3.5 hours of Comcast yesterday.
Yeah. Oh.
My brain almost came out of my ears. There might be some brain on the floor over behind my desk.
God.
Okay, sorry. Like I said, I digress today. So I need some weirdness.
I'm wondering if we could counterbalance this with a little alcohol of some sort. I don't know. You are busier than you usually are. So a text message sent from a soon-to-be husband to an ex-girlfriend on the eve of his wedding is going viral. But it's not why you think. It wasn't like a drunk text from the bachelor party or the rehearsal dinner. His fiance said, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So this girl is the ex-girlfriend is sharing it. And here's what he sent her. Quote, I'm getting married tomorrow. I wanted to send you this message. And he said, thank you for being my first love. He said, I know we were only kids when we dated, but you taught me what love is. My point in all of this is you're the reason why I know how to love someone. And it goes on, I wish you love and happiness in her life, in your life. And she wrote back and said, congratulations, and, all this kind of stuff. So, she put it on Twitter, and a lot of people are commenting, and, that's nice, but it seems like it just kept going a little longer than it needed to. And I'm just,
Yeah. Well, there probably was a little booze involved when they wrote it. I get that because the person you are has to do with all the other people that have ever done you. I mean, if it's bad, you learn from it. If it's good, you learn from it and all that. And you sort of hear that. And it's once again, it's a lot nicer to hear something cute like that.
Right.
Than when you hear the stories about someone sends a picture of the bride or groom cheating 2 days before the wedding with like the best man or maid of honor. You know what I mean? Because that seems to get a lot more play than someone being kind.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, again, like I really liked it. I thought it was a cool story, so I wanted to go ahead and
I like some sweetness.
Okay. This is something I don't ever definitely want to be involved in or quite frankly witness, especially on an airplane. But a couple traveling together got yanked off of a flight before they took off, thank God, after the woman, allegedly his wife, Hulk smashed, I say that with quotations on it, a laptop over his head because she was mad that he was looking at other women. So it was an American Airlines flight from Miami to LA, and they were in the gate, and somebody was videotaping it or phone taping it, and it goes up on Twitter. You want to fucking look at other fucking women? Fuck you. Blah, blah. A flight attendant then steps in. She's like, hey, there's children. She's like, yeah, I know. I fucking consoled the fucking child. I mean, this lady just goes completely batshit. The man was allowed.
This is like in the gate outside before they eat, or they're on the plane already.
Yeah, they were on the plane, but they got taken off the plane. He didn't get in trouble. She was arrested, and we're trying to figure out what the charges are going to be. It's going to be quite a lot.
It's going to be, well, yeah, there's all this stuff about just being an ass on a plane now. But I'm trying to figure, a laptop on the noggin is going to
hurt.
Yeah, you could crack a skull.
Yeah.
So you're going to get, I really, really hope that that's the last straw for one of them. Mm-hmm. Either she snapped and she's not putting up with this crap anymore, or he's like, she has gotten too violent for no apparent reason. You know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah.
But there is something though about airports that I think brings out the worst in folks now. Because the flying now is probably one of the most awful things that happens in like modern U.S. things. We have a lot of crap in the world, but there's nothing really nice about flying anymore.
No, no, it's horrible.
Everything pleasant about it has been removed. And so if you're already stressed about everything that's happened to the airport, this is not going to be a place. You're going to have airport rage for things that have nothing to do with the airport because you're already on the edge.
Oh yeah. I hate it. It's really sad. Guys listening are going to cross their legs and possibly assume the fetal position. But a man is arrested and jailed for going after a guy who he says screwed his wife and snipped off his penis and took off with it. And yeah, it was you had an affair with my wife, so I'm cutting your dick off. We do not know if the penis has been recovered, but there's another one. That's pretty hardcore.
Now that's I'm always quite amazed at just that took some work to get to the penis. So the man must have been rather incapacitated to get to that point. And so that when you and honestly, that you've got the assault issues that, of course, because it involved genitals, so now you got sexual assault, and that person's going to have to like register for the rest of their life and do all these things. I think.
I'm just wondering if the law weights body parts differently. So, like, if you cut off a toe, is that not as big of a deal as cutting off a penis? or an ear. You know what I'm saying? Arguably, you could say that, like, if a toe is a misdemeanor, a penis is like the gnarliest felony.
Or like when folks, they'll it'd probably be about the same as like, when you disfigure someone by throwing acid at them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There are, for insurance purposes, losing a hand is worth more than like losing a finger. And all that sort of stuff. I'm sure there's good, I just find it sort of depressing that we have to have those things. It's going through there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That someone has actually sat around and come up with a monetary value for body parts.
Yeah. There's an actuary somewhere that that's their job. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. I really like my job.
Yeah, I do too. I'm going to have to sit here and say I'm very grateful that I don't have to do that sort of thing. So Britney Spears, I've noticed that when I open my web browsers lately that her face has been there, but I haven't read any news. She must be coming out with touring or doing something.
Well, I know she had a thing in Vegas that I understand was spectacular. What do they call that? Like in-house or residency or something like that?
Yep, like Celine Dion had.
Yeah, from what I understand, she puts on one hell of a show. I need to get back to Vegas. I haven't been in a long time. The people watching's great. The food has gotten better. I'm not really a gambler.
Wait till the grasshoppers are gone.
I understand. They're having a little locust issue, a grasshopper issue.
And they're like sliding on the freeway in the smushed grasshoppers. So maybe check and make sure that's over before you go.
Ew. No, I saw like a little comment because someone like used to live in Vegas and now they don't. And they made a comment. No, I really didn't delve into it, but ooh.
Yeah. And here's what I'm wondering is how would that place get infested with something like that? Because I always thought that they would eat like grass and there really isn't any.
Well, remember they've had some of the largest rains this early as spring forever than they've had in decades. That whole area of the country had some. And so when we were driving through, I saw cactus blooming and different things that I just have never seen before. So my guess is that, whatever larvae or eggs or that was put down because of the extra water, extra little critters. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, this is so funny. Lance Bass, you're going to say, okay, Kelly, you started with Britney Spears and now you're talking about Lance Bass.
They were both on Mickey Mouse Club or something, right?
Well, she dated Timberlake.
Oh, okay.
And, NSYNC, that whole thing.
Okay.
So basically, he was just telling a story. He was doing a guest appearance on some show, and he said, okay, so he came out as gay in 2006. But 2 years prior, she was one of the first people that knew he was gay. And here's why he tells this story. She had that infamous 55-hour marriage to that guy named Jason Alexander. It was annulled like immediately in Vegas type of thing. So she was crying, going, oh, my God, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Mm-hmm. And he's trying to console her. And he said she was so completely distraught. He said, well, here, guess what? I'm gay. And she stopped crying long enough to start laughing to go, are you serious? and he's like, yeah.
Shock therapy.
Yeah. So he
so they obviously have known each other. They're around the same age, I would guess. They came up at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so he was talking about how she was like the most awesome, friend, but that's what snapped her out of her, hysteria, which is kind of funny.
No, I've never had anyone who like came out to me. I know people and stuff like that and going through there, but I have never, people have told me lots of things about their lives and trusted me with stuff, but I've never had anyone come out.
You mean be the first one?
Be the first person, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was 22 and I had my first job, out of college, and I was working down in San Diego, and I was a sales rep, and basically my territory, I worked for a title company that called on real estate offices, made some great friends. And this one guy who was an assistant for a top producer and I just became extremely tight. Mm-hmm. And, we'd been palling around. We'd go to Costco together. I mean, all this stuff. And one night, like 6 months in, he goes, well, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, what? And I'm thinking, oh my God, and then he tells me he's gay. And I thought, oh God. And I remember being at 22, I thought, if he doesn't think I know, I better go, oh, okay. But I did not know how to react. I didn't know, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. 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 I didn't know what to if I should have been assumptive. I mean, everything ended up being fine, and we're still friends to this day.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? I didn't know what to do.
Does he think I want a relationship? So he's telling me I'm gay. Is he trying to come out to other people? Is he testing me? So you weren't sure where.
And I said, okay, that's fine. You know, I mean, it was kind of one of those things, but. Yeah, I'm glad that it's not as weird, because this would have been about 1980.
Yeah, still. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember we had an employee that worked us for years. He was older, my parents' age, stuff like that. And he was never able to come out to his family. He lived a very difficult life because it was always, and I'm like, you could just see it versus the folks that I know now that are in the teens and 20s, and they know who they are, and they can do it. And their mental health is going to be so much, better over the years, because they don't have to be, hide who they are. It's still not perfect, but it's better.
Yeah.
And it would be really nice if, let's say 20, 30 years from now, you no longer have politicians that are closeted and so self-loathing that they're making laws against stuff. And then stuff like that that goes by the wayside.
Yes, I agree. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, it always breaks my heart to hear people that live kind of tortured lives because they, I'm glad that we're moving into a different era. And, there may be some families who still don't accept.
We're having a little bit of a setback right now, but, it generally, and I've said this before, the human race tends to go forward until we, fry our planet. But, until then, we tend to try and make things better. We're not perfect. There's no such thing as perfect, but we'll get there.
I hope so. A sex-hungry wife was arrested by police, and this wasn't Florida man, it was Florida woman. Okay, this did happen in Florida. Arrested by cops for tugging on her husband's penis too hard in a bid to arouse him. I've never found that violence was helpful in those situations. I've always found that, that sugar works better than vinegar.
There's tugging, and then there's like assault. There's there is a line, and it's fairly I would say pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who like to be kicked in the balls. That is a whole fetish thing, and that sort of stuff. But I'm guessing this is not one of them.
No. She's charged with domestic battery.
Yeah.
And apparently, she clamped down on her husband's penis so hard while he was sleeping at 5:30 in the morning. And the complaint says, without provocation or permission, she walked to the victim and grabbed his genitals. Police were called, and she said she wanted to have sex, but I think she needs to get some therapy.
So obviously we know there are folks that have gotten away with grabbing of the genitals, but for the most part, folks don't.
Well,
yeah.
I thought this was hilarious. So there's this couple, and they're avid bicyclists, and they do a lot of cycling together, and they lead social cycling groups, and that kind of thing. So this guy takes his girlfriend on this 15-mile bike ride, and which is not an outrageous length for them at all, but the whole route spelled "marry me," and she didn't know it, and she's getting more and more pissed because she's of all the turns. She's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
and finally,
so they have one of those apps like on their phone,
yes,
and they can see what's going through.
Then
there.
At the end, he stopped down and whatever, and she said it was the greatest thing ever. But she goes, "Yeah, I was getting really frustrated."
Okay, so the whole marriage thing, not me. Is going through there, and I think things like this show, they put a little effort into it. It's not completely over the top.
No.
And it was something that was personal to those two.
Yeah.
And, that you look at that and you go, okay, so this is something that makes a little bit more sense. You think
it's really cool.
Some fun communication there.
Yeah.
That's going through there. And once again, some fun thing, a nice thing to talk about.
Yeah. I'll never forget, I went to see the band Travis. They were a pretty great English band, but then Coldplay came out 5 minutes later, and then nobody knows who Travis is anymore. But I was at their concert at the U, and he was talking about, doing a proposal during a show for a guy, and he said it was hilarious, especially in his very thick English accent. He goes, it took her so long to answer. I'm sitting here going, shit, but she said yes, and everything was fine. He goes, I'm never doing this again.
No, you think it's going to be a good idea, but getting a lot of people involved in it can be really bad, especially like if you really surprise someone.
Yeah.
And when the Target Field first opened, about a decade ago now?
God, has it been that long? Yeah. I suppose, yeah.
And the places are full. I mean, almost every Kiss Cam had a proposal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one after one after one. And last few years, not as many, stuff like that. So maybe that is done. Yeah. But it would there'd be this pause, and there'd be just a guy, and I just look and I go, oh, here comes one. You're just like, oh, I just couldn't. Oh, that's just not. I mean, honestly, I think, they look surprised, or maybe they don't. But it just, to me, almost every time to me it looked awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would not enjoy being put on the spot.
No. I mean, I'm a pretty gregarious
person
and all that sort of stuff. But even so, nah.
Yeah, I think I'd go absolutely deer in headlights. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this poor woman, she is a 61-year-old woman known only by the name of Maria. She is diagnosed with persistent genital arousal disorder, PGAD. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Yep. She says it's ruined her life. Mm-hmm. And she says the arousal comes with no sexual desire or satisfaction and has turned her into a recluse. She thinks that it was triggered by a botched smear test. She said that she went in and they were very clumsy with the speculum, and she started noticing these symptoms, and then she got the diagnosis.
I wonder if they hit that seems sort of strange, like a nerve damage or something.
Yeah. And she says it's normally like she's sitting on an ant's nest. Mm-hmm. And she said, I don't know what's happening. You get this great arousal, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's not triggered.
I wonder if Botox would do anything with that.
That's what they're working on to help her.
Okay, cool. Okay, sorry. I told you I got ADD in the brain today, but my brain went right there.
It's not unusual for you to guess the thing, which is why I like to lead you, because you come out with it usually, and you almost never disappoint.
Okay.
You were I would say you're about 45% faster than normal today.
Yeah, I am. Like I said, it's prednisone and caffeine. Yep, but it kept me from having a massive asthma attack, so I'll go with it.
Okay,
breathing is good.
Botox.
I enjoy. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So here's the last thing I'll say. Mm-hmm. She gets in this state and she can hit a pothole. And she said she will get the orgasm. I would like her to get the happy ending if she has to live like this, at least. But yeah. So
yeah, there's been a few stories over the years we've been doing this about, people like to joke about it, but it's not. It's not
No, because it can be really annoying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it can throw you off your game.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than having like a nerve injury in your ankle or your wrist or your back, stuff like that. If you're in constant distress, that is not a good thing.
Yeah,
and making fun of it just because it happens to be in the genital area.
Yeah,
not a good thing.
No, I mean, but this
sounds like she's they're trying to figure it out and they're taking her seriously.
Yeah, well, this is actually, I think there's a note to be made about it. Is that this is in Scotland, and their health system has not yet officially recognized this, and which is also hindering her ability to get effective treatment. Mm-hmm. So the Botox has been suggested, and they seem to be ruling on that, but she doesn't have the ability to get any kind of specialist she wants, which is part of the problem there.
Yeah, but but the thing is that because Botox, you can use things off label. So at least, at least I know you can in the U.S. and you don't have to have it tested. If it works for A and B, you can try it for C and not have to test it for C because it's been deemed safe for these other two and stuff like that. I'm guessing they probably have something similar there, but at least there's someone who's trying. The health system may not be, but it looks like she's got some doctors that are trying on her.
Which, I never like to see medical care professionals handcuffed by things like that.
Yeah.
That's too bad. I hope she gets some help. This is actually really sad, and it makes me really mad at Tennessee. A gay Tennessee man says that a church has refused to hold a funeral service for his father because of his own sexuality. And the quote is, "They're punishing my dad for a lifestyle choice that I've made. It's not me laying up there in the casket. It's him." And this is...
So he actually used the terms lifestyle choice himself. He didn't choose to be gay, but that's how ingrained and how tough it must have been for him to grow up in Tennessee that he's actually internalized that sort of language. Okay, that's the first thing that popped into my head there. And then, of course, yeah, that's frustrating because it obviously meant something to his father and meant something to maybe his other family members and stuff like that.
Well, listen to this. Before he passed, his father expressed two final wishes. One, he wanted to have his funeral service at Lee's Chapel Baptist Church, which was the first church he ever attended, and to have his son sing a Christian song called The Anchor Holds. And the church said, no, because you're gay. I think that's crappy. Really, really crappy. Oh, wait. Okay. Let's not end on that one. We've got a couple other ones. Okay. Oregon students just won the right to take mental health days. And Utah has done this as well. So they will be excused school absences to include mental or behavioral health under new law that experts say is one of the first. They say it's meant to change the stigma around mental health. And I guess Oregon has some of the nation's highest suicide rates. I did not know that. So what do you think?
No, I mean, mental health is exactly the same as breaking your ankle or having appendicitis or having strep throat.
Yeah.
The fact that these things are separated in many insurance plans and not covered is as frustrating to me as the fact that, like, why is dental insurance separate?
That's stupid.
It makes no sense to me. You know, eyeglasses and so, like, what, someone not supposed to be able to see? I don't understand. You know, it's a whole body. It's a package. It all goes together.
Now that I never really thought about that, but you're totally right.
And the same thing with, with mental health issues and stress and anxiety. And it's there are measurably more things that are being thrown at young folks.
Yeah.
They have to, I didn't have active shooter drills. Okay. I didn't have college jammed down my throat. I wasn't told I had to make decisions about my entire life when I'm like 10, so I know what high school I want to go to. So people say, folks had, everyone has their own stuff, but we've, burned a lot. There's a lot of stuff we, lump onto, kids now. Be a kid, but also be incredibly responsible and know what the hell you want to do for the rest of your life. Yeah, these things, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, a Broadway show, it was a performance of Frankie and Johnny in the Clair de Lune, had Audra McDonald.
That woman has a voice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's just stunning. I always thought it was fascinating that she was an actress on Private Practice. I had no idea when I was poking through that she was I went down a whole rabbit hole of YouTube of some of her videos years ago, or audio, because I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I got to say, those people are amazing. Well, long story short, the play opens with a sex scene, and in violation of the theater's no camera, somebody took a picture and got away with it. And she's like, now she's got all stage fright and she's freaking out. And she's going, not cool, not cool, not cool.
Yeah, just don't, it's her job, but it's her job right there. If someone wandered into my office and took a picture of me, I wouldn't be happy. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it. And so that person not only messed it up for hundreds of other people, because now she may not give the performance that she wants, and now it's going to inconvenience everyone. You're going to have to start, like, checking your phones. They're going to, like, pat you down for your phone. It's going to waste a lot of time, and I think
there's a lot of dumbasses.
Yeah, and that ruin it for everybody else. I've always said I think there should be a database for this, so when there's something dumb that happens, and people are, I said, well, just look up, this page on this website, and you can find out who ruined it for everybody else.
Yeah, shaming. I think it's highly effective. So real quick, I just had to throw this in here. Alan Dershowitz, storied lawyer, and he is, a pundit as well. He's fighting a civil defamation suit. Long story short, he was accused by a woman of some inappropriate sexual advances, shall we say, back many, many years ago. But he and the attorney that she has retained kind of have this personal battle going. Have you heard it?
No, I haven't.
They've been barbing each other because I'm just laughing. Alan's 80 years old right now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying he might not have done something prior, but it's just when I think of him and this. So apparently, and I didn't see this, but I'm going to YouTube it because it's got to be out there somewhere. He went on the Fox News channel, Laura Ingram's show, and she's, it was talking about this, and he said, this guy's doing it for money. I mean, he is accusing me of doing something I never would have thought of during those years when I had the most perfect sex life. And just the thought of Alan Dershowitz saying that, I've got to go look for it.
Oh, that's always person, yeah.
So even he's getting caught up in the whole Me Too movement, so we'll see what happens, but we'll give him, the benefit and see how his case turns out.
Yeah, when someone like him that has such the gift of a lovely vocabulary, that's going to be some interesting quotes. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I really hope you come down off of this. This thing.
It's 2 weeks and I'm only 4 days into it. But you start big and ramp down. So
okay.
By the time we do a few more, I may not be as insane.
Okay. Good luck with that.